You know, when you're trying to get work done, every single second counts. So today, we're diving deep into the Windows registry to show you how a few very precise tweaks can make your PC feel faster, run smoother, and ultimately make you way more productive. So here's what we're going to cover. First, and this is the most important part, we're going to talk safety. Then we'll get into the good stuff, 4 powerful registry tweaks to really boost performance. We'll also look at a much safer alternative that's still super effective. For the tech pros out there, we'll touch on advanced diagnostics, and finally, we'll wrap it all up to see what this really means for your day-to-day productivity. And listen, before we even think about touching a single setting, let this quote from XDA developers sink in. We are operating on the very heart of Windows. One wrong move can cause some serious problems. So this isn't about random hacking. This is about making smart, informed, surgical adjustments. And that brings us to our first and most critical section. Seriously, think of this as your pre-flight checklist. It's the mandatory first step before you do anything else. Okay, let's be crystal clear. Backing up your registry is not optional. It is a must-do. The registry is the central database for your entire system, and one little typo in there can cause chaos. So how do you back it up? It's easy. Open the registry editor, go to File and hit Export. Just save the whole thing somewhere safe. Or, even better, just type Create a Restore Point in your Start menu and follow the steps. It takes 60 seconds, and it is your get-out-of-jail-free card if anything goes sideways. Please, do not skip this step. All right, with our safety net firmly in place, let's get to the good stuff, the performance gains. We're going to walk through 4 specific tweaks that can make a difference you can actually feel. First up, we're targeting the user interface. You know all that eye candy in Windows? All the little animations, windows fading in and out? Well, that stuff uses processing power. By turning it off, we're telling the system to stop wasting energy on pretty visuals and just focus on raw speed. It makes the whole OS feel so much snappier. Now take a look at this. I know that full path looks a little intimidating, right? But it's actually super simple. You just navigate down through those folders in the registry editor until you get to that spot. Then you create a new dword value, name it Visual FX Settings, and set the value to 2. That's it. After a quick restart, you'll feel the difference immediately. All right, our second tweak is all about putting your computer's power where you actually need it. This one tells Windows to give more of its CPU brain power to the app you're currently using, instead of letting background tasks steal precious resources. It makes sure your main program gets the priority it deserves. Okay, time to dive back in. This time, we're heading into HKey Local Machine. You're on the hunt for a setting called System Responsiveness. Once you find it, you're going to change its decimal value to 10. It might seem like a small number, but this tells the Windows scheduler to give whatever you're working on the VIP treatment, making it run a whole lot smoother. And this slide is really important because it shows the difference between those first 2 tweaks. Disabling visual effects changes your perception of speed. The system feels faster because you're not waiting on animations. But prioritizing the foreground app gives you a real, tangible performance boost by dedicating more CPU cycles to what you're doing. One is about feel, the other is about raw power. Okay, let's talk about boot times. You know how when you start Windows, it kind of takes a pause before it starts opening your startup apps? That's on purpose. Windows waits about 10 seconds to let the system load first. But if you have essential tools you need right away, we can get rid of that delay completely. Now pay close attention here because this one has a little extra step. First, you'll navigate to the Explorer key. Inside that key, you need to create a brand new key, not a value, a key, and name it Serialize. Then, inside your new serialized key, you'll create a DWRD value called Startup Delay in MSC and set it to 0. That tells Windows you want 0 milliseconds of delay. So we've sped up the start, now let's speed up the shutdown. When you turn off your PC, Windows gives all the running services a little time to close down gracefully. We can safely trim that waiting period down to make your computer shut down noticeably faster. And here's our final tweak. You're going to navigate to the path you see there under HKey Local Machine. You're looking for a string value called Wait to Kill Service Timeout. The default is usually 5,000, which stands for 5,000 milliseconds, or 5 seconds. We're just changing that to 2,000, which is 2 seconds. It's a simple change that shaves 3 whole seconds off every single shutdown. So what exactly are we doing here? Well, think of it this way. At the end of the workday, maybe you give everyone a 5-minute warning to pack up and leave. This setting is just like that, but for your computer's apps. The default is a 5-second warning. We're just changing it to a much more efficient 2-second warning. It's telling them to wrap it up, we've got places to be. Okay, I know we've covered some pretty technical stuff. And if you're thinking, whoa, I'm not sure I'm ready to mess with the registry, don't worry, I've got you. There is a much safer and still very effective way to speed things up. Let's talk about your startup apps. This is something anyone can do, zero risk involved. Just press Control-Shift-Escape to pop open the Task Manager, then click on the Startup tab. Sort that list by startup impact. You'll see things like Spotify, Teams, Discord, all these apps that love to launch themselves when you boot up. Just ask yourself, do I really need this running the second my PC turns on? If the answer is no, just right-click and hit Disable. It's the easiest performance win you'll ever get. But let's say you've done all this and your computer is still booting slowly. Well, for the technicians out there who need to dig even deeper, Windows has a powerful built-in tool that can help you pinpoint the exact culprit. It's time to play detective. The tool is called the Event Viewer, and it's basically a flight data recorder for your boot process. If you navigate to the Diagnostics Performance Log and filter for Event ID 100, you get this amazing, detailed report. It will literally tell you, hey, this specific driver is taking way too long to load. It takes all the guesswork out of troubleshooting those stubborn performance issues. So, after all these technical tweaks and diagnostics, what's the bottom line? Let's zoom out a bit and talk about the real-world payoff. Why does any of this actually matter? The gains here are very real, and they add up over time. You spend less time just sitting there drumming your fingers on the desk waiting for things to load. Your whole experience is smoother, which means less frustration. Your most important apps run better because they get the power they need right when they need it. It all adds up to a more efficient workflow, letting you focus on your actual work instead of fighting with your computer. And that brings us to the end. We've gone over the critical safety warnings, the precise tweaks, the safer options, and even some advanced tools. So the only question left is, now that you have this knowledge, which performance bottleneck are you going to go after first?